Time Travel, A Secret Society, and 11 Keys to Leadership. This book has them all, and it's coming up right now. Hey, what's up? It's Gene Clark of Self-Development Quest. Thanks for stopping by for today's video on The Coin by Justin Mears. If you've joined me on this quest before, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up so I know that you're here. And if you've just found this channel, well, stick around. And at the end, if you like what you see, consider subscribing. And with all that said, let's get into The Coin by Justin Mears. The Coin is an easy read, and it's a relatively short book. It's more of a self-development story than it is your traditional self-development book. You learn more as you read the story, very similar to the Patrick Lencioni books I've covered in the past. This is more a fable throughout, and as you go through the story, you learn all the lessons, and then at the very end, the final chapter, it all comes together in a nice little package for you. The book starts out with our main protagonist, Joey. He's a hotshot young man excited about the opportunity he's been given to lead a special team that's been put together by the board of directors. And the board of directors has put together this team because they have a dire situation at their company. Now, Joey knows that this is a golden opportunity for him, and if he plays his cards right, this will launch his career to new heights, and the sky is the limit for him. The task Joey has been assigned is a major issue for the company he works for. There's been a major change in the operating system that supports their end user and the machinery they use. And currently, the operating system and the machinery do not mesh together. So as you can imagine, when the computer and the machine don't talk to each other nicely, that's a major issue. And Joey needs to keep quality high, keep costs down, and make sure his company meets their quarterly projections. Now, no matter what option the board and the management team originally came up with, there were serious ramifications as far as employee morale, bottom line impact, total output, quality, all of those factors. And now Joey has been tasked with leading the team that's going to try to minimize the impact on all of those, while again keeping quality high, keeping costs down, and making sure they hit those quarterly numbers. After being given the opportunity, Joey decided he needed to clear his head and make sure he was of right mind before he introduced himself to his new team. So he decided to go for a walk in the local park. And that is where he meets a very intriguing man. As Joey's walking through the park, talking to himself and giving himself ideas on catchphrase after catchphrase he can use when he introduces himself to his team, he runs into Marcus. And Marcus can't help but inform Joey that true leadership isn't all about catchphrases. And that's when Marcus pulls out a briefcase that is full of coins that he shows Joey. Marcus explains to Joey that these coins are priceless and they've helped many people before him, and Marcus believes they can help Joey right now. Joey, thinking he has simply met a crazy man in the park, quickly ends the conversation, but Marcus, again, very intriguingly, tells Joey if he ever changes his mind, he'll know where to find him. Joey hurries back to the office to give his new team the rah-rah speech they need to get inspired. However, his speech falls flat. In fact, lower than flat, if that's at all possible. And his team tells him that not only do they not believe there's a solution, they believe that he is simply out for himself, brown-nosing his way to lead this team and looking simply to move up in the company, not looking out for the best interest of the team. Knowing things got off to a very rough start, Joey goes back to his office and sulks for a bit. And then his mind wanders back to Marcus and those coins. And Marcus, as he told him, one-liners won't work. And Marcus, as he told him, these coins have helped many people before him, and they might be able to help him in his situation. At this point, Joey's just desperate enough that he's going to go out looking for Marcus. That's my brief summary of Chapter 1 and the backstory that you need to really understand what's about to happen in this book. So Joey runs back out into the park and he finds Marcus. He explains to Marcus he's interested. Does Marcus still have those coins? And that's when Marcus pulls out the first coin and flips it into the air. All of a sudden, Marcus and Joey have traveled back in time to the Gettysburg Address. and they're listening to those famous words in that famous speech given by Abraham Lincoln. Joey, very confused by his time travel, looks around wondering what has just happened. Marcus assures him that they are completely fine and that nothing they can do can affect history in any way at all, so just sit back and take it all in. After the speech, Marcus flips the coin again and they travel back in time to current present day, as if no time had passed at all. This is where the story starts to pick up. Marcus explains to Joey that each coin is unique and special in its own way, and each relates to leadership in its own unique and special way. By flipping these coins, Joey can travel back in time to an exact moment and experience the leadership traits of that specific situation and witness how it all unfolded and how it all came to be, all without any time passing in the present day. Now, I don't want to go too deep into the story because I do want you to check out this book. It is a really good read. Now, at times it can be a little cheesy and a little corny with the dialogue and with some of the situations. However, that's not really the main point of the book. It's just about relaying this leadership message and the keys that surround that message. The real meat is in the topics in each chapter that are covered. So after chapter 1, each of the following chapters covers a different key to leadership. And those keys are purpose, belief, commitment, motivation, discipline, failure, ownership, resilience, reflection, love, and character. Not surprisingly, the coin that is featured in each chapter relates to the key to leadership that chapter is covering, and the journey they take talks about how that coin and that aspect and key to leadership relates to leadership in general. Now, again, I don't want to dive too much into each chapter or too much into the story because I do really want you to check out this book. But I am going to present you with my 3 favorite keys, which are today's RORs. As you know, I believe every book we read is an investment on our own self-development, and I like to call that investment our ROR, or return on reading. And today's returns are as follows. ROR number 1 is purpose. Now, for the book, this chapter is very important because this is where Marcus takes Joey on their first journey. He explains how the coins work, and it really gets the story moving. However, that's not why it's an ROR. It's an ROR because as a leader and looking inward at our own self-development, purpose is very important. Simon Sinek literally wrote an entire book on purpose called Start With Why. My favorite book. I made 2 videos on it. Link to them right up here and down in the description. If we don't know our purpose, if we don't know the reason behind what we are doing and why we are doing it, then we aren't ever going to be as successful as we can be. Once we find our purpose, once we understand our why, then we can get moving in the right direction. This book takes it even one step further, though, and it's something I never thought of. But as a leader, it is part of our job to help those that we leave find their own purpose, find their own why. Find that reason behind why they do what they do and help relate it to the rest of the team and relate it to the goals of the team. And that is what makes you an excellent leader. And that is something that just never crossed my mind, but it really is true. ROR number 2 is failure. My favorite quote from this section comes from Teddy Roosevelt. And it wasn't even from Teddy Roosevelt, but it was somebody else quoting Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy said, "Spend yourself in a worthy cause, and if you fail, at least fail while daring greatly, so that your place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither can taste victory nor defeat." And that quote reminds me a lot of one of my favorite quotes by one of my favorite motivational speakers, Les Brown, who says, "Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars." And both of these quotes have to do with going big and going for it, because even if you fail, at least you tried. Even if you fail, at least you have the opportunity to learn and grow from the experience. It's time we throw out the definition of failure that we see in the dictionary, and it's time that we think about failure in how we respond to it, how we deal with it, and what it does to us that will ultimately decide our success. Failure and success are linked together, and success is a result of taking satisfaction in the fact that you have done your best, you have given it your all, and if you fail, you learn and you grow from that experience. And true failure in that sense is doing something and failing and not doing anything with the lessons learned from that. And ROR number 3 is character. Your character indicates to everyone else who you are and what your values are. Your actions tell everyone what you stand for and what you're worth. Character is the sum of all your moral worth, and it's what you stand for, and you can't fake that. And you need character as a leader because at some point the time will come where you have to make a choice to either serve yourself or serve those of the team you're leading. And as a leader, you need to have the identity that instantly, without hesitation, you choose your team that you are leading over your own self-interest. And when that happens, that's when great character wins, and that's when you can become a truly great leader that anybody's willing to follow. Now, I know I usually give you 3, but I'm going to give you a bonus, number 4 ROR, and that is leadership is self-development. We can't know what's best for the people we lead without continuing to try to develop ourselves and try to better ourselves any way we can. You can't be a great leader without being able to learn and look at yourself and say, hey, I've got weaknesses, I've failed. How can I learn? How can I grow? Because if you can't do that yourself, then you can't expect those that you lead to do that as well. How can I raise the bar for others if I'm not willing to raise the bar for myself and hold myself to a higher standard? If I'm not constantly giving my best effort, how can I ask others to constantly give me theirs? If I am not learning from my own failures and my own experiences, how can I expect others to do that as well? And this is why this book has reinforced my own beliefs that through self-development, we will become better leaders. So just to give you a few final thoughts on the book, the character Marcus reminds me a lot of the Ogmandino books with the character the Rag Picker. Now, Justin is no Ogmandino, don't get me wrong on that. No offense to you, Justin, but no Ogmandino. Not yet, maybe over time. But the character Marcus really resembles a lot of the Rag Picker, just randomly showing up, just randomly full of this knowledge that instantly helps in that moment. And then you turn, you look, character's gone out of sight. And by the end of it, it's always like, yep, that sounds about right. So for those of you that have read some Ogmandino and know the Rag Picker, you will know exactly what I'm talking about when I say he's very similar to Marcus. And even though I said that the writing gets a little cheesy, the dialogue gets a little corny at times, I did really enjoy the book, and I really enjoyed the message that was within the story itself. And for those of you that were wondering, Joey and his dynamic dozen, as he called them, that team does end up saving the day, and the book has everything work out just perfectly and just peachy. And then Joey moves on to join the secret society of leaders developing leaders. Not to ruin the story for everybody, but it's not about that portion of it. It's about everything else in between. It's about the message and the leadership skills that you learn along the way and those keys to leadership that are embedded in the story. I enjoyed this book so much that I want to give away a copy, and I'm going to do it to anybody that comments, I want a copy of this book, down below in the comments section, and I will do another raffle, and I will do another giveaway on next month's 5 at 5 on 5 video. So one more big thank you to Justin. Justin, thank you so much for sending an advance copy of the book. I really enjoyed going on the journey with Joey and Marcus, and I really enjoyed the takeaways I got from this book. And for everybody still out there, my question for all of you is, if you could go back any moment in history, please let me know, where would you go and why? Look for my answer in the comment section down below. And don't forget, on this self-development journey, always keep growing.